healthy this year for training camp, has made a lot of noise and has made a lot of plays. So this core, this group, and you compare them to what they had last year, it's not even close. I'm excited for this group of receivers.
Jim Harbaugh doesn't say much about individual players. Even he said Bruce Ellington is a guy we want to watch tonight, one of the rookie draft picks that will get his first chance. Okay, we know about Baltimore. Well, what a lot of 49er fans may not realize, they had a horribly disappointing year last year. Their offense went away completely.
Well, I covered these guys at the end of the season, and Joe Flacco, look, a year and a half removed from a Super Bowl trophy, and he got his big deal, but in turn he lost his big deal in the wide receiver we've got now in Anquan Bolden. So you look at them, and their offense struggled. Now they've got a new offensive coordinator in Gary Kubiak. They've got a healthy Dennis Pitta at tight end. You know tight end is a featured piece to a Kubiak offense. And I think most importantly, they feel like their offensive line got better. They struggled in that area up front, blocking people last year. And in turn, you saw Ray Rice and Bernard Pierce. They just had awful seasons.
Their defense, though, as 49ers know well, their defense is strong, still strong. All right, first preseason game. That means a lot of familiar faces won't play for varied reasons. And to keep us updated on all of that on the sideline tonight is Dennis O'Donnell.
Hello, Ted. I think the primary objective of every NFL team in the summer camp and the preseason is to avoid injuries. And the 49ers, as you know, have been unlucky in that regard. Let's show you the list. They lost 2 running backs in Kendall Hunter and LaMichael James. Hunter for the season. Receivers Brandon Lloyd, Michael Crabtree have minor injuries, should be fine. Starting nose tackle Glenn Dorsey suffered a torn biceps tendon. He is out indefinitely. And his backup, Ian Williams, still recovering from off-season ankle surgery. Anthony Davis' shoulder, and of course the huge loss of Navarro Bowman in the NFC Championship game. And in the words of Jim Harbaugh, it is next man up. And you're going to see a lot of next man up tonight. I spoke with Greg Roman today. He said, Dennis, we want to win the football game, but we want to stay healthy. And Ted, a word to the wise, if you want to stay healthy tonight, keep your distance from T. Ryan. He gets emotional during the preseason, and I think he still thinks he's playing for the Chicago Bears.
All right, well, Dennis, that's great. Tim, you're out of luck with me. I don't have much to mess.
Well, yeah, I'm going to come down,
go
down there and mess Dennis's hair up. Better watch it.
All right, that national anthem has just been played here in Baltimore. Game time weather is brought to you by the California Academy of Sciences. Not bad humidity for this time of year in the mid-Atlantic region. Temperature is supposed to dip down to the mid-70s during our game tonight. And given the popularity of football in Baltimore, as you all well know, a good turnout for the first preseason game. The last time Jim Harbaugh and the 49ers came here was Thanksgiving night of Jim's first season as head coach, and it was a circus. And it was done intentionally to be a circus. And so this is the first time for the 49ers to walk back in the stadium since.
What I remember from that night is John Harbaugh's defense, they're the Baltimore head coach, were dialing up a lot of exotic blitzes, and the 49ers had trouble getting to the line of scrimmage, getting plays called on time. That'll be one of the keys in this game tonight. I am so excited for this 49er football team, and I know they are too, in terms of the opportunity to hit somebody else in a different uniform. Practice has been awfully chippy the last couple of weeks. Guys have been getting after it. It's been a very physical 2 weeks of training camp, and they're looking forward to hitting those white jerseys tonight.
Yep. All right, so we're good to go. The 4th year of the Harbaugh era to begin, and here's something right away for the 49ers. They need to locate some kick returners with Kendall Hunter and LaMichael James's injuries. Nobody right now is on this roster who returned a kick last year. So you see Bruce Ellington.
He is quite capable. Bruce Ellington, 4th-round pick out of South Carolina, dynamic football player. The kicker for Baltimore can blast him. We'll see if he gets an opportunity to return it, but I think he's definitely got it in his future.
That's Justin Tucker kicking. Ellington returning. Bruce Miller leading with a wedge. Nice hole. And good drive start across the 30 for the 49ers on a 35 or so yard return by Ellington. So Kaepernick will start, coming out wearing that familiar left armband with all the play calls on it.
And despite the issues at wide receiver last year, he really played well as a whole. You see the quarterback rating up near 92. That was better than some of the better quarterbacks in the league. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan. Colin Kaepernick and his quarterback rating stood above those guys.
All right, so right away we see Carlos Hyde, the rookie out of Ohio State. And he gets a first carry and drives it out across the 30-yard line. All right, let's look at our Levi's starting lineups. Bruce Miller back, and that's nice, Tim. He was missed in playoffs.
No doubt, with a broken shoulder blade. Stevie Johnson getting the start tonight opposite Anquan Bolden. He is a plug-in play player coming over from Buffalo. I will be looking forward to Joe Looney out there at guard to see what he can do in this opportunity. Of course, we're without Alex Boone, who's holding out starting right guard.
Three-step drop, a chance to try and hit Stevie Johnson, and a flag is thrown on the defense by
number 90, defense, 15-yard penalty.
Pernell McPhee is flagged.
Well, McPhee's coming from the outside linebacker position, takes an inside rush on Mike Iupati. Boy, that was touchy. You know, the whole deal with hitting quarterbacks, and they're considered defenseless, certainly when they're in the pocket or in the throwing motion, is the old two-step rule. You got 2 steps before you can actually lay the hammer down on them. It really now, and the officials, the referees call it this way, could Pernell McPhee have avoided forcible contact. I'm not so sure that he could on that play, but 49ers will take the 15 yards.
Right away, Jim Harbaugh, and Tim mentioned the right side of the offensive line is different than normal. Anthony Davis is not playing yet after his offseason surgery. So Jonathan Martin, who played for Harbaugh at Stanford, is getting that chance. And a play-action boot, and Vance McDonald. And Tim, one story tonight will develop are the players the 49ers will need to advance, and that's, no pun intended, this is one of them.
And no doubt, a little naked bootleg. Colin Kaepernick sees it right away. Vance McDonald wide open out in the flat, and he is a guy that needs to step up. There are a handful of young veterans that really need to step forward. His second-round pick last year, had some drops last season. He's had some drops through the OTAs and through training camp, and he has got the talent to be a big part of this offense in their 2 tight end set.
Hyde gets the carry. Wow. Well, it's a different man holding the football, but that play, Tim, and the blocking, we got so accustomed to seeing Bruce Miller become such a fine lead blocker.
Well, this guy may be his own best blocker in Carlos Hyde at close to 230 pounds. That's a good job by Bruce there, kind of reading what the defense was doing and changing his blocking assignment and bouncing it outside. And a good job by Carlos Hyde, who does have good vision for a big back now. We've seen him get to the outside and get out on the perimeter. He is much more than a between the tackles runner.
All right, so with Kaepernick on this series, a little red zone test. And a nice play call. Hyde counters and gets it down close to the 5.
I'll tell you one thing, and a little lag draw right there, is you're going to see and continue to see out of the 49ers receiver corps. And one of the reasons why I like them is they all want to block. Quentin Patton will block. We know Anquan Bolden will block. Crabtree will block. That time Stevie Johnson had a terrific block right there out on the edge on the corner, just occupying him enough. You saw the vision there from Carlos Hyde to bounce it to the outside. Good job by Stevie Johnson.
That tackle, that's a guy to watch for Baltimore tonight. 57 is their first-round pick, C.J. Mosley, who's going to start as an inside backer. Tosser, this is Jewel Hampton getting a carry. Jewel Hampton is a guy that's been on the 49ers practice squad much of the last year and a half, and he's going to get a chance because of injuries. Necessity. Jewel Hampton's going to get some carries this preseason.
Yeah, he will get a boatload of carries this preseason. Not a great job here by Jonathan Martin. You see he's out there trying to set the edge on the safety, Matt Elam, and he just stumbled and fell down. No contact on the safety. Jewel Hampton was corralled pretty much right there near the line of scrimmage.
All right, well, red zone. This is the low red zone, 3rd and a yard.
Areas where they were brutal last year, 3rd and short this situation, Ted.
And this time they use Tuka Wapu to try the lead block, but Baltimore smothers Jewel Hampton. And so the 49ers get their first opportunity, which I assume they will take here, to go for it on 4th.
Really good job by Brandon Williams, the nose tackle, number 98 on Joe Looney, who's in there playing right guard. I mean, he just picks Joe Looney up and just stuffs him right into the hole. Jewel Hampton saw it, tried to cut back. By that time, Brandon Williams had disengaged, got a hold of him, and waited for some of his defensive help.
So this is why I don't guess, because I'm usually wrong. Phil Dawson to kick, Andy Lee to hold. Kevin McDermott to snap. So strong last year. Kevin McDermott's first year took right up and match the standard that had been set by Brian Jennings here. Phil Dawson through, and so the 49ers with Kaepernick on the field drive to get 3 to start tonight.
Tonight's coverage of 49ers preseason football is brought to you by LG G3, now available at T-Mobile, mattress discounters, have a good night's sleep for less, and Bud Light Lime, the perfect beer for whatever.
First preseason game, let's check our Mendocino Redwood keys.
Well, number one is obvious. Stay healthy, especially in a meaningless game with your impact players. Be efficient in the process, and when I say that, I mean in terms of the play calling, getting the plays in on time, getting them run in a timely fashion. Big point of emphasis in the offseason with Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, to do that, streamlining the terminology and the playbook. And then really, with as good as this roster is, they're going to need a handful of the young veterans and maybe a handful of rookies to have an impact and really step up. And it starts tonight. There's no better tool to evaluate these young players than the game atmosphere versus on the practice field.
So Phil Dawson will drive this one. Asa Jackson is the Ravens' return. He's going to get a shot from about 5 yards deep. And this will be something we'll talk about during the preseason as well, because part of the 49er roster fight are going to be for some special teams jobs. So rookie Nick Moody, or second-year man rather, Nick Moody in on that tackle. Anquan Boldin has admitted this game, it's his first time back to Baltimore since they won the Super Bowl with Boldin at a big part. And it meant something to him to come back. The closure. Of course, we all painfully remember how well Flacco
he knew where to go with the football when he had to, didn't he?
Exactly. How well Flacco found Boldin, and there's what happened last year without him.
Yeah, 22 interceptions for Joe Flacco. That was second worst in the league, right behind Eli Manning.
And Ray Rice. This is obviously, there's a lot of off-season conversation about Ray Rice. And we'll get to that story in a moment because it's very relevant to the 49ers tonight. As we look at our Levi starting lineup, there are the backs and receivers, including a familiar name in a new place.
He's been around so long, he attached senior to the back of his nameplate. Stevie Smith, longtime receiver for the Carolina Panthers. They get Osemele back at left guard, and they bring in Jeremy Zutah from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to play center for him. They feel like they've upgraded.
Flacco swings it at him and finds Pitta, who missed much of last year with an injury. That didn't help the Ravens. Big weapon takes it out near the 40 for a first down.
And that was another reason. I mean, Baltimore was not the same last year without Dennis Pitta, who hurt his hip in training camp. Just had him for the very end of the season. They catch the 49ers there. I don't know if they were sitting in zone coverage, but everybody vacated. Maybe Michael Wilhoit went over there with the action that went to the defense's left, and it left Pitta all by himself.
49ers don't have a lot of starters out there to start this game on defense, so we'll see what the Levi's starting lineup looks like for the 49er D. Of course, Justin Smith is not dressed yet during training camp. Ray McDonald has not. Patrick Willis is not starting tonight. Well, obviously Glenn Dorsey's out.
He's out with the torn biceps. Patrick Willis is not out there. You can see that Chris Borland, number 50, right here on your screen, the third-round pick, is getting the start for him. He's had a terrific training camp.
Brooks is out there.
I'll tell you another guy who has played well, Ted, in training camp is Mike Purcell, practice squad player from last year out of Wyoming, college free agent. I mean, you want your nose tackle, and people have maybe underestimated the loss of Glenn Dorsey. Well, you couple that with the fact that Ian Williams is still nursing that ankle, and hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. You need a nose tackle that can chew on a double team, and Mike Purcell here in year number 2 has shown that he's been able to do that in training camp.
Empty backfield, and Flacco finds Jacoby Jones into 49er territory.
And that's an area where we got to have our eyes on that nickel corner. Jimmy Ward, the first-round pick rookie, is lined up in man coverage right there on Jacoby Jones, who is a big receiver there coming out of the slot, and he's able to create some separation. There it is over there, and he just works the leverage. He sees that Jimmy Ward's playing outside leverage. He sticks his left foot in the ground and cuts and picks up a nice play.
And Flacco comes up, and there's an interesting play as he finds the fullback coming down the slot. It's Kyle Juszczyk, second-year man. Took over for the veteran Vontae Leach.
You see Chris Borland right there. He just bit on the play action. And it looked like he was reading there was going to be an ISO play coming at him with a fullback lead. He went to take on Kyle Juszczyk. Juszczyk slipped right by him for a nice gain down the middle.
Baltimore has some new faces, but the running backs are the same. That's Bernard Pierce, who's the number 2 man in the Super Bowl.
And that's one thing I think you're going to see out of Chris Borland early in the preseason is he is so gung-ho and aggressive when he makes his reads in the run game, and he is going to hit you downhill. He is an outstanding player coming out of Wisconsin in the 3rd round, but it's going to take some experience as he starts to get a feel for some of the play action stuff anticipated that might happen to him tonight.
And Rethrow gets the ball down to the 10-yard line, and that is Steve Smith. And the 49ers last saw in the playoffs in Charlotte after a long career in Carolina.
And this is what the new Ravens offense is going to look like under Gary Kubiak. They're going to want to pound the run at you with the zone, and then they want these quick-hitting pass plays. 5-step, get it out. Steve Smith right over the middle of the field puts a nice cut on the turf and picks up some extra yards.
And that is a significant change for the Ravens after the offensive failures last year. They bring Kubiak in. He got fired in Houston. Rice drives it down inside the 5. The Ray Rice situation, of course, has been such a public conjecture, public discussion, public debate. Alden Smith today had his meeting with Commissioner Roger Goodell in New York. Alden is dressed. He's not. You can see it doesn't look like he's going to play. That he understood was the plan, but he had his meeting with the commissioner today. And flag is down. Rice catches it. Rice goes down as well. He was ruled down at about the 2-yard line, but there were flags on the play. Pete Morelli, the referee. You see the signal.
Outside defense. Half to the goal. Repeat. 2nd down.
And so there's no word as to when the decision on Alden's punishment from the league will come.
I think it's Eric Reed here who's creeping up to show some blitz and maybe gets himself right here into the neutral zone. Yeah, there it is right there with the offside. Yeah, who knows about Alden?
No,
Look, I keep hearing 6 games for Alden Smith. Ray Rice and with his issue only got 2 games.
It's going to be a huge perception problem for the league.
Huge perception problem. Problem is Alden is a repeat offender, and this was really the first violation for Ray Rice.
Pierce drives it and follows the Ravens' right side in for the touchdown.
I think that's an area, and look, we don't have a lot of the starters out there in the front 7 in terms of the D-line and Patrick, but this defense has got to get better in run defense down inside the 5-yard line. Remember a couple of years ago when they gave up nothing, like 0 touchdowns down there?
No rushing touchdowns, yeah.
No rushing touchdowns. Last year they gave up 15 out of the red zone, so that area has got to get better for sure. And you see Baltimore, they lined it right up behind their best offensive lineman up front, the road grader, right guard Marshall Yonda.
And then they sent the fullback Juszczyk right behind him, and Pierce ends up in the end zone. So here's Justin Tucker to kick. I've got to say something. I walked around today and I went in the Inner Harbor to the Ravens team store that they have in the Inner Harbor. They sell next to Flacco and Lewis jerseys. They sell a Justin Tucker jersey. I have never seen a kicker's jersey sold.
He saved their butts a few times over the last 2 years.
I'm just picking Tim up off the ground here.
Yeah.
John Harbaugh's Ravens went down the field well, and they did finish their drive. 80 yards in 10 plays. 49ers got down deep, could not punch it in with the run game. See D lineman Ellington after his 2nd kick return. I don't know if we'll see Kaepernick. That'll be the first thing we watch here.
I would be shocked if he's back out here. Maybe if the first drive with Colin out there was 3 and out, we could see him back, but fairly lengthy drive, he could be done.
Well, run back here, this one a high kick in the field for Ellington, and a real good return. Now a flag will likely knock that one out. Justin Tucker, the kicker, had to finally run Ellington out, but that's got the bad block flag look to it.
During return, holding, number 43. Receiving team, 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
And that's Craig Dahl, and usually when the penalty is right there where the returner makes his cut and breaks to the outside, they're going to see it, and that's exactly what happened with Craig Dahl.
First look as a 49er for Blaine Gabbert, coming in after 3 years in Jacksonville that were not anywhere near what he or the Jaguars hoped.
Well, this is a much better supporting cast than he had in Jacksonville. Number 10 overall pick, and I can tell you right now from watching training camp, the fans and I know this team feel much better about the backup quarterback position with Blaine Gabbert out there.
Tried to throw a back shoulder to Steve Johnson. That didn't go, and this time the flag, which I thought was going to be on Shockey Brown the first time, will be this time.
I don't think Shockey Brown ever turned his head to look to locate the football.
Holding, number 23, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And big point of emphasis is after 5 yards, hands off for those defensive backs. And the penalty had already occurred before you see it right there on the replay. But I'll tell you what, Baltimore's secondary is awfully thin without Ladarius Webb back here tonight. You need 3 good corners, and they're trying to replace Corey Graham, who was a very good player for them over the last couple of years. They are thin out on the island at the cornerback position.
Their secondary's got a big-time different look than the one the 49ers faced 18 months ago in the Super Bowl, just like San Francisco. Ed Reed, of course, and Bernard Pollard both moved on. Kerry Williams, who was a corner in that Super Bowl, has gone to Philadelphia.
The runs, Ted, have not been as good out there to the right side behind Joe Looney and Jonathan Martin. I think that's been obvious here for the first couple of drives. Very good over the left side behind the starters of Upati and Joe Staley, but not a lot of room to run over there behind Looney and Jonathan Martin.
Carlos Hyde continuing, and Frank Gore is dressed but may not get on the field at all. And this time there's nothing at all for Hyde. Courtney Upshaw. There's the number 1 pick, C.J. Mosley. The Ravens' offense was not good last year, and their first 3 draft picks were defense.
And this is a very good player right here out of Alabama. Bupkis Award winner C.J. Mosley really took over the starting job and pushed Arthur Brown to the second team. Arthur Brown was a high second-round pick for them last year, but they could not resist C.J. Mosley, and has been installed in the starting lineup really from the minute he got here.
So third down for Gabbert, 4 receivers for the 49ers. And Stevie Johnson makes that catch, and he's going to be pushed out right at the stick. That's a first down.
And that's big, and I'll tell you why. And it was a good throw and a good catch, but the thing that made it all happen was Carlos Hyde and his protection pickup. Baltimore was bringing the heat right up the gut, and Carlos Hyde stepped up and made a nice block to give Gabbert the opportunity to throw it. Here's Hyde right here. Here comes the pressure right up the middle. Gut pressure will kill any quarterback. Let's watch Carlos Hyde sift his way right in there and pick up C.J. Mosley. That's a nice job.
Yeah.
And I think
Jimmy Smith got a little late hit there, too. That's what Jim Harbaugh was upset about.
I think Carlos Hyde, Ted, is very underrated in the passing game as a receiver and as a blocker.
Completion there. And that's a great pick that you made about Hyde, Tim. That's been the measure of every running back that the 49ers have brought in here, is trying.
Well, we know Tom Rathman, the running back coach, he doesn't like putting guys out there if they don't know what they're doing in protection.
And here's the Foster Farms what to watch for.
Guy is a beast. I thought he was the best running back in the draft. I really did.
Really?
Absolutely.
The measure we've mentioned has been pass protection.
You know what, though? They ran enough of their passing offense in that pro set at Ohio State that he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing in pass protection. You're going to see more exotics, more pressure looks in the NFL, but here he is at Ohio State doing what he did best last year at over 7 yards a carry, running the rock.
Well, what he has, and look, 49ers, as you said, they brought running backs in the last couple of years to prepare for the eventual day that Frank Gore is no longer Frank Gore.
And let's not underestimate how good Kendall Hunter was as the backup. Right. He's going to be sorely missed.
Big ball for Quentin Patton, who makes the catch.
He's going to get a push-off, I think, right there.
It was against Asa Jackson. See if they call that on the receiver.
It looked pretty obvious.
Yep.
Pass interference, number 11 offense. Penalties decline. 4th down.
And you know what? That's a killer. Penalties hurt, but when they're on 3rd down or down in the red zone, they're especially punitive. And you see right there as the ball came in, Asa Jackson wasn't looking at it, but Quentin Patton used that right arm to push off and gain some separation. He's had a very nice camp, by the way.
Yeah.
See him healthy this training camp.
So Andy Lee, and do the punting. The senior 49er right now, Andy Lee. He got his name up in the locker room on the 10-year club last year. Latest player that's a great honor in this team, this organization. Jackson goes out of bounds, just shy of the 20, so Baltimore will take over after stopping the 49ers on their 2nd possession.
Everybody, the 49ers trailing 7-3. This is sort of a warm-up act. Really, the 49ers are going to stay here in Baltimore and practice on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday against the Ravens. Baltimore defensive back Jimmy Smith. You may recall him in that Super Bowl 18 months ago. He was in on that final play with Michael Crabtree. The ball fell incomplete, and of course the Ravens got the Super Bowl ring. Well, Smith says he is toying with the idea of bringing his Super Bowl ring to practice, to shove it in the 49ers' face. Harbaugh insisted, by the way, that was holding or pass interference, and Smith to this day does not agree. Word of advice, keep the hardware at home.
Yes. Tyrod Taylor, who has been the backup here to Flacco the last couple of years, comes in for the 2nd Baltimore series and shows his strength with a lively run.
This offense is going to be good for him. And what happens is pretty good pressure here from DeMarcus Dobbs coming this way. But you can see the defenders, other than Borland, who's sitting in the middle of the field, they are running with wide receivers. There's a lot of room for Tyrod Taylor to run, who owns about every record possible for quarterbacks at Virginia.
27-yard scramble, and now on a handoff, the Ravens in 2 plays have pushed it to midfield. Pierce is on the carry. The 49ers and the Ravens were supposed to practice tomorrow, but there was a collective bargaining agreement issue that forced him to cancel. You see Taylor's hasn't played an awful lot behind Flacco. And I would suggest, since these 2 brothers that coach these teams believe their teams will treat each other the right way in their practices, that it's emotional for the 49ers. It's a tough call to come here and play this game in practice against this team.
I can guarantee you one thing.
Anybody that would flash jewelry, that would not be taken well.
Would not be a good idea. I think the team, 49ers that is, are in a bad mood anyway. Number one, you don't want to travel cross country for a preseason game. That stinks. And then you got to stay an extra 4 days and practice against the opponent. This group needs to stiffen up right here up front. They are just getting moved off the ball by the Baltimore Surge up front.
Getting our first look in this series at Tank Carradine. We're in 95. Did not see him last year. There he is on the right side of the defensive line.
And you know what? I think he is going to be a huge shot in the arm for that defensive front as a pass rusher. Tank Carradine. It's going to take a while for the run stuff because it's so much feel in there, Ted, in terms of making plays that you can't see. You really got to feel him. He was mostly an edge player at Florida State, but in terms of the pass rush, he can absolutely bring it.
Greg Dahl coming in. Deep blitz, and the 49ers get there up the middle. Dahl came in from the outside, and Tank Carradine got in up the gut.
And it's exactly what I was talking about. He's been doing it all training camp. The ability to recognize pass and use those big, strong arms and swipe and then get to the edge and accelerate. Bang, right there. And you saw he just pushed the offensive lineman out of the way, Ryan Jensen, and then just put his foot on the gas and accelerated to the quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. That's an area, if the 49ers can get better inside pressure, and you talk about him next to Justin Smith when they get into the nickel stuff and rushing the passer, he is going to have a big impact, I believe, with this 49er defensive front getting after the QB.
I just think Exactly, Tim. That's a guy, Carradine. That's an important player for the 49ers this year. All right, first quarter is complete. The first teamers are just about complete. The Ravens a touchdown. The 49ers a field goal.
Welcome back, 49er fans. One thing you got to do is you got to come down to take a behind-the-scenes tour of the premium areas at Levi's Stadium, the new home of your 49ers, from the playing field to the roof deck and into the locker room. Tickets start at just $25. Visit levisstadium.com/tours for more information.
Yeah, that's a great call. The first public tour tomorrow is already sold out.
That museum's pretty good over there, isn't it, Ted?
Tyrod Taylor has a man open. It's Kamar Aiken over the middle. Greg Dahl drops him, but it's inside the San Francisco 35.
A pretty darn good throw there from Tyrod Taylor, and just outside the reaching arm of Michael Wilhoit right here, who's going to recognize he's got a crosser coming right behind him. That's a good throw.
Tyrod Taylor, there's some feeling he has to show a little something this preseason.
Well, I don't think the Ball State quarterback's going to put any pressure on him as a backup.
That's going to be interesting. We'll see him later in the game. Maybe the 6th round draft pick, Keith Wesley. First down run here by Bernard Pierce. But where the Ravens had been in good stead, Joe Flacco has started every game since he got drafted. The Ravens 109 counting postseason. Kind of like Chase Daniel, who was behind Drew Brees for 3 or 4 years with the greatest anonymous job in NFL history. So we'll run to the outside there. That's Justin Forsett, familiar name. Tandem with Marshawn Lynch at Cal, and Justin's bounced around the league the last couple of years. Had a rough year in Jacksonville last year.
Yeah.
But Kubiak
had him in Houston.
Right?
That's right.
Brought him here.
And I think he is going to be a good insurance policy for Ray Rice, who's got that 2-game suspension, especially on the third down stuff. Bernard Pierce can be the bell cow in terms of running the football on the early downs and the running sets, but Forsett much more adept to be able to do some nice things as a receiver out of the backfield.
Taylor sets up a screen.
Oh,
that's a tough hit. That'll get a first down, and that is another veteran, another guy Gary Kubiak knows well, Owen Daniels, the longtime Houston tight end. And Owen Daniels got it down to the 20-yard line.
Corey Lemonnier, he takes an inside rush. Owen Daniels lets him go. It was perfect timing there from Tyrod Taylor, and then some friendly fire. Watch this. You're going to see a couple of big hits. You saw Quentin Dial lay a hit on Michael Wilhoit, and then you saw Borland come over the top and lay a hit on Quentin Dial.
There's a ball fumbled by Pierce, and it may have been recovered by Pierce. It was. So Pierce was stripped, and let's see how this ball bounces back to him.
That was Quentin Dial that knocked it out. A nice job recovering on that play and able to get inside and squeeze the play, and just punches it out with his right arm. And a fortuitous bounce there for Bernard Pierce. Another guy that needs to step up. You talk about the young players. Quentin Dial, last year's 5th-round pick, has got a great opportunity to be a big-time player in the rotation.
There, the 49ers with the run pressure all over Pierce. And there's Jimmy Ward, the 1st-round draft pick.
I loved him getting ready for the draft. You know, a lot of people thought he had a 3rd-round grade on him. 49ers took him late in the 1st round, and I'll tell you why. Because that dude is a football player, and he will smash you in the run game. Comes unblocked right there.
That's an interesting take.
Oh, he will smash you in the run game. He is a big-time hitter. And you can see right there evidence of that. I mean, he does a good job of just breaking down and gathering his feet and making a nice, sure tackle. And he's going to end up playing 60% of the snaps this year in the nickel defense.
And there's a sack. That's Michael Wilhoit, who is now has veteran enough status that he's first man on the depth chart in Navarro Bowman's spot. And Wilhoit gets the sack.
Well, it was either Wilhoit was going to get it or Quentin Dial was going to get it. And the offensive lineman decided he was going to get Quentin Dial. And Michael Wilhoit came right through with a nice play.
42-yard try here for Justin Tucker. Sam Cook is the holder. He is the punter for the Ravens. And Tucker drills it through. The new goalposts this year. The new uprights, 5 feet higher than in the past. Hopeful to aid the officials. No help needed there. Ravens up 7. Ravens lead 10-3 now. They've had 2 drives, both ending in points.
A couple of nice plays there by the defense of just really putting the brakes on Baltimore. And once they got down there in scoring position, very good play there by Jimmy Ward. Then a nice overload blitz right here called up by Vic Fangio. Just send more than they can block. And the guard could not block both guys, that being Quentin Dial and Michael Wilhoit. He gets a nice sack. And I promise you, I mean, you typically don't see a lot of blitzing in the preseason. I promise you, John Harbaugh, the Baltimore Ravens, and Coach Jim Harbaugh of the 49ers talked about that before the game and said, dial up a few for our guys.
Oh, okay. Those were our Xfinity innovative stops. Meanwhile, a run back here, and that's Devin Wiley, who's a veteran of a lot of camps in the NFL, wide receiver, getting the kick return opportunity. Patrick Willis in the baseball cap. We are glad you're with us along the 49ers preseason television network, anywhere you're watching us. Welcoming back NFL football tonight with multiple games around the country, but this one, of course, matching once again the Harbaugh brothers. The Harbaugh family is all. This is really Harbaughville tonight, quite frankly. Blaine Gabbert starts his 2nd series. And tried to throw that quick 3-stepper and overthrows Quentin Patton.
Joe Staley out of the game, Mike Iupati out of the game. Assume they'll be done for the night. So Jonathan Martin moves over to play left tackle. Adam Snyder inserted into the game at left guard. And Daniel Kilgore, not surprisingly, he and Joe Looney continuing to get work.
Yeah.
Daniel will be counted on to be the starter this year at center. And he has never started a real game here for the San Francisco 49ers.
Quick start by
5-yard
Jonathan
penalty,
Martin.
remains 2nd down.
One thing, Jonathan Martin, in his attempt to be the swing tackle, the backup that could play either side and make this team, he is still coming back. He had mono late in the mini camps and OTAs. May not quite be at his fullest of strength, but he's going to have to play that way.
Well, he's certainly talented, that's for sure. He looks good getting off the bus. You just don't see dominating play from him, though, period.
It's an incomplete pass intended for Jewel Hampton.
And what a great opportunity for him, really. I mean, when you think about the opportunity to be in San Francisco for this football team and to be a swing tackle, this guy was a 2nd-round pick for the Miami Dolphins. He is very talented. We all know about Bounty Gate and the issues that he had down here, but for the 49ers to really welcome him, his old coach Jim Harbaugh, with open arms and give him an opportunity, he needs to seize this opportunity and really just be a better player. It's that simple. He's got the talent to do it.
So on 3rd down, pressure coming. And Gabbert stepped up and again overthrew Patton right near the stick, and so the 49ers will bring the punt team out, and Baltimore will likely get some good field position out of this exchange.
Sometimes I wonder if Blaine Gabbert in those days in Jacksonville, if he's just trying too hard. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
two overthrows.
2 overthrows. And what do overthrows usually say is that the ball's coming out a little bit early and you're a little too aggressive trying to unload it. He needs to just relax and let the game come to him, and I think he'd end up being able to execute much better.
It's Randy Lee gets his punt away. Lisa Jackson fielding it on a hop. And look at the coverage. Now this is the 49ers. That's when you know the 49ers are right. When Brad Seeley's cover teams play like that, and that is rookie Borland. You talk about a way to make this, ensure that you make this team.
Oh, he's making the team.
Yeah, but that's a way right there.
He'd have made it if he didn't even make that tackle. He could have not one tackle in preseason and on special teams, and he's making this team. He is a very, very good linebacker. And it's pure conjecture, Ted, on my part. I think he's in a battle with Michael Wilhoit to start on the early downs opposite Patrick Willis. I really do.
So Tyrod Taylor continuing in as the Ravens quarterback. And a running play here off the left side. He gets a couple of yards. Forsett again on the carry. There's Chris Cook.
That's a nice addition on a one-year deal, getting him from Minnesota. And again, like we were talking, Gabbert, he's going to be better with a better surrounding cast around him. I believe that for Chris Cook.
Monday was the first time the team was on the field at Levi Stadium, and Chris Cook had 2 picks in that open practice.
May have been the first 2 of his career.
That's it. That was the label. That was the label that came with him.
Oh, that ball's out.
And Parrish Cox picks it up. A little confusion here. The officials are looking at each other, determining what the call is going to be here. Did a whistle blow? If a whistle blows, that's not something you, on a change of possession, you can't review though.
Automatic review on a turnover, as you know, if it's called a turnover. If it's not, Jim may want to challenge this. Let's take a look at it.
Ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the 49ers, and then the play was blown dead. First down, San Francisco.
Okay, so it was a fumble first, then the play was blown dead.
And that's Quentin Dial again. Those 2 huge plays by 92. Quentin Dial using that right hand to rip it out.
And Tam, this is, of course, this is your position here.
Oh, that's big.
But I just, help me if you think this. I can't think of 2 players that could be more important to this team this year than Carradine and Dial. Because the defensive line through the years has been awesome, but it has some legs on it now.
Absolutely.
They need some new.
And not only this year, but for years to come.
Yeah, new blood. Right.
Justin is getting no younger. Ray McDonald has been around for a while. You need those young guys to start to step forward. And that is 2 big-time plays by the second-year defensive lineman, Quentin Dial.
Quentin Dial did get on the field just a bit last year, about midway through the season. He didn't play a lot, and he did not play in the postseason. Tank Carradine never got on the field last year. So this really, in essence, they're rookies.
Well, and his toe was never right, Quentin Dial. He had a pretty significant toe injury coming into the season, coming out of Alabama. He's healthy now, and it's showing up.
All right, being a change of possession, it's automatically reviewed. It's Quentin Dial standing right in front of Ian Williams, who 49ers hopes going to be back on the field and practice a week, maybe 2 weeks from now. Here's Pete Morelli.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
All right, so again, that was not a challenge. That was the automatic review on a change of possession.
That's right, all turnovers. And look, I don't think Quentin Dial really knows how good he can be. And played nose guard last year, more nose at the end of the year when he got activated. I think he's in a perfect position, lining up over a tackle right behind Ray McDonald when Ray gets back, and using those long arms and that long body and the length that he has to just forklift guys off of him and find the football. 2 really nice plays in this game, forcing the ball out.
So on first down, it's Jewel Hampton getting the carry. So again, for 49er fans to understand that because of the injuries to running backs, and with Frank Gore in uniform tonight, but he's not going to play, the 49ers had to sign 2 running backs this past week just to get through this preseason. So it's not like Jewel Hampton's going to get a heck of a lot of work here.
He was last year's leader in the preseason in rush attempts, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And he's impressed. He has been one of those players that quietly has built a little bit of cred with the 49ers staff and front office. Gabbert throws a pick, trying to hit Derek Carrier. And that one is picked by Asa Jackson.
Well, Derek Carrier was never open. And you'll see Blaine Gabbert, he's holding the ball. He's looking left the whole way. Never takes his eyes off of Derek Carrier, and Asa Jackson just flashed right in front of him. I mean, he never took his eyes off where he was going to throw that football, and a decent defensive back is going to chew that up every time and just read the quarterback.
So teams exchange turnovers. Baltimore back to work from their 24. Tyrod Taylor and Aranis. And then along the sideline was able to elude Craig Dahl for enough extra yardage to get a first down.
Well, Tyrod Taylor's just getting to the top end of his drop and looking downfield and nobody open. He's got receivers running off the DBs. He just takes off and picks up some yards. He's going to be a tough tackle on the open field for Craig Dahl.
4th year now for Taylor out of Virginia Tech. Running player Pierce. punches the ball out across the 40.
I'll tell you, that D-line has found their groove here the last couple of drives. Nice work by Mike Purcell holding the point at the point of attack on the line of scrimmage, and you could say the same thing right there for Quinton Dial. These guys got to be tired too. I mean, you think about practice and the injuries. Watch both of these guys just kind of set the line of scrimmage and just sift down. You're not going anywhere, and the help from the backside comes, but they got to be tired. I mean, they got 6 defensive linemen practicing in practice.
A dump out throw to Juszczyk, the fullback. It's across the 45. And you're seeing different bodies there, some familiar, in fact, 2 familiar faces for Pac-12 football fans. 44 there is Shane Scove, undrafted out of Stanford.
Shocked he was undrafted.
And 48 is Chase Thomas. This is his 2nd year now.
Also undrafted.
Right, undrafted, was in a couple of camps last year.
He was in New Orleans camp to begin with. Coming out of Stanford after the 2012 season.
Jones on the underneath throw. That looks like it's going to be just enough across midfield for a Ravens first down. Ye on the cover. Dante Johnson, you see him in the game, 36. He's a draft pick.
He's had a really nice camp.
North Carolina State, and he's the kind of, we haven't seen a lot of corners around the 49ers like him with his size.
He's every bit of 6'2", and he has had several picks during the course of practice in the team period. Impressive. Quinton Dial, I think he can't block him.
Yeah, this is, right now you're right, between Dial and Carradine, that's one of the upsides of this first half.
Quinton Dial can just be stout, and it's a good example on that last play about how he uses his long arms to press the offensive lineman. 68, look at those long arms. He'll locate the football and then be able to shed just with one arm and toss A.Q. Shipley to the side and go get the football. Nice job. He's having a nice game. Look how big he is. See Shipley come up, the offensive guard. He's a head taller than he is.
They're looking to throw back down the field, and that is incomplete.
It's a nice job by C.J. Spillman and Craig Dahl. I mean, that is a classic Gary Kubiak drawn up play right there. Those designed vertical shots that are coming off the bootleg action and try to drive the ball deep down the middle of the field. Craig Dahl does a nice job of wheeling back into position, and C.J. Spillman really never loses his position. Well done.
Deep in the depth chart, that was Philip Supernaw, undrafted free agent as a Baltimore tight end. So third down. Quick shot that's incomplete, trying to hit Jacoby Jones for the first.
I think Jacoby thought he was going to get his head taken off by the safety.
Yes.
He sure did. C.J. Spillman converging on the football. Jacoby never saw the ball.
And is that, Tim, that play there, that was Jimmy Ward covering the receiver in the slot. That's what you expect to see.
Yeah, and played him outside leverage, knowing he had help inside from his safety. That was a nice job.
Obviously, that was the role Carlos Rogers filled the last 3 years for the 49ers. That's something they need to replace him with. Who covers the slot?
You got 3 new players on the back end trying to replace those guys.
All right, here's your shot in each of our preseason games. You can ask Tim at KPIX Football. Tweet in your question. Is our secondary something to worry about?
I don't think so, and I understand the trepidation. You haven't seen these guys, and trying to really replace 3 starters back there. Antoine Bethea, I think, is an upgrade as a cover guy for Dante Whitner and can also tackle, will get to the ball. I expect Chris Culliver, who in practice is fully healthy, watching him coming back from that ACL a good year ago. I think he is going to be just fine. I'm expecting a big year out of him. And you were out of practice. I think before Tremaine Brock hurt his ankle and nicked his ankle a little bit, he may have been the best player on the field on defense. He was off to a great start, and you're going to see Jimmy Ward in the slot. That's probably where the biggest question mark is going to be, but I don't think you should worry about it too much. I think they're going to be fine.
Ball not held by Chuck Jacobs. By the way, Ask Tim, which will be on our preseason games, is brought to you by Geico. So make sure you tweet those questions in for Tim. Third down here as Gabbard did not get help there from his receiver.
Well, Chuck Jacobs has had some drops in training camp and through the offseason practices as well. He's a very, very good route runner, and he's going to have to play himself onto this roster. And that means catching those footballs that hit him in the hands.
He was a practice squad member for the 49ers last year. David Reed is at the bottom of your screen for the 49ers here, also trying to make this team. And that time Jacobs holds it, but he does not get to the stick.
Well, and that was a poor throw. I mean, a good throw from Gabbert, but a poor throw in terms of where the stick is. Chuck Jacobs had to come back for that. And coming back to the ball, which is thrown to the outside, should be down and low to the inside. And it really forced Chuck Jacobs to have to come back, and he fell down short of the sticks.
We're going to measure here. But I think that line is accurate. Yes, it is. So 49ers have a length of the football, and they will send out the punt team. We talked in the outset about the depth of the wide receiving core, and we're not seeing those frontliners. We've seen a little bit of Patton and Stevie Johnson early, but now you're seeing guys like Jacobs and David Reed, who was on the Ravens Super Bowl team as a backup receiver.
That's right. And if you're wondering about Michael Crabtree and how he looked coming back off last year's Achilles tear, he looked fantastic at the start of training camp.
Yes.
I promise you, every bit of that explosion and then some is back for Michael Crabtree.
So Lee will punt. Asa Jackson catches, and this time he did get a little advance.
Oh.
And then he got flipped.
Check this out for the latest 49ers news, highlights, and interviews. Visit 49ers.com.
Which, by the way, is terrific.
I think #1 in the NFL.
The quality of the video on there.
It's the best in the league.
And Monday, when we were sitting in the stadium, Tim and I had a chance to call the practice as such for the new Levi Stadium app. And if you're coming to a game this year, no matter how you come to a game, you've got to download the Levi Stadium app on your phone.
It's so good.
It was terrific. But what I noticed, Tim, and the players admitted it after the practice, they kept looking at the big video boards. The two big video boards, especially after Candlestick, are just extraordinary. And the players were looking up and trying to watch replays of what was happening at practice.
Have not played a game in that stadium yet and already love it.
Taylor with a quick pop out to Kamar Aiken. Second time they've connected.
Didn't you get the feeling being in Levi Stadium that it's, even though it's all brand new, there's a nostalgia to it, there's a traditional feeling to it? I did.
Well, the beautiful thing, and in fact, John York, the 49ers co-chairman, was on the field tonight talking about this before the game, is noticing how much higher the upper deck is in this stadium. And this is a terrific stadium, but compared to Levi's, which was a nice run by Pierce, and he's got a first down inside the 40.
Well, I don't know if there was a stunt called for Quentin Dial, but if you're going to swim a running play to the inside like he did there to try to make a play, you better go make it in the backfield. Otherwise, if you don't make it and he just does an arm over to the inside, the hole's too big, and a guy like Bernard Pierce is going to run through it for a first down. You see the arm over right there? And then Shane Scove was just stuck on Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, and not enough players there to bring down Pierce.
And there's Juszczyk running hard into C.J. Spillman. That's a nice gain down to the 32. Juszczyk, I always love pointing this out because they're not supposed to come to the NFL from Harvard. Although Tim Murphy has run a great program at Harvard for a long time.
And you just saw an example of what he can do. Not only a very good blocker he can catch, he had 15 catches against Princeton his last year at Harvard in one game. We had him at the Senior Bowl.
What position was he playing?
He was fullback.
Fullback. Caught 15?
Caught 15 against Princeton.
And the first down for Baltimore again. There was Juszczyk again. In the Super Bowl, the Ravens still had the veteran Vontae Leach as their fullback, and Ray Rice loved him. Frank Gore has had those relationships with fullbacks like Moran Norris in the past. There's 4-7, a nice following stick. That's Nick Moody, who was a draft pick last year by the 49ers, and he is the safety morphed into linebacker.
Oh, he is a run and hit guy now.
Yeah.
terrific. He really played himself onto the roster last year in the preseason. I think he was #1 on the defense in terms of tackling numbers.
Special teams was his ticket last year out of training camp.
Absolutely.
And he got hurt I think it was the first game of the year, he got hurt covering a kick.
And they may end up keeping an extra
This
linebacker.
is a 2-minute warning.
Just because of Navarro Bowman and his injury, going to be out for probably the first half of the season.
All right, 2-minute warning in Baltimore. Technology is
a long way.
Well, it's all over Levi Stadium. That's for fans. On the sideline, though, technology is a little slower creeping in because of the competitive nature of football. But this year, that's brand new tonight. Microsoft Surface tablets that NFL teams will be allowed to use on their sideline for one thing only, and that's the still pictures.
And you know when those pictures are taken, right?
Justin Forsett, that's something Forsett has done very well, both at Cal and in the NFL. A catch and run.
And C.J. Spillman's got to be able to make that tackle on the open field on Justin Forsett. Well-timed screen. Quentin Dial can't get out there fast enough, and then he gets sideswiped right there. And C.J. Spillman late in pursuit, which really allowed that space and extra yards there for Justin Forsett. But those still pictures, one are taken right before the snap, and then one is taken when the quarterback's non-throwing hand comes off the football so they can see the coverage rotation.
Forsett, and he's going to be run down on the outside by Chris Cook, close to the 5-yard line. And we've all seen it for years. You watch football games and you see on the sideline coaches and quarterbacks looking at still pictures that are usually used to be faxed down to the sideline, printed. However, now they can be sent down in a matter of just 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah, I've been around long enough, as have you. I used to know guys who used to have to run them down from the press box to the sideline after every series.
Polaroid.
The Polaroids, that's right.
So
but what it does is it's a pre-snap look of what the defense looks like, and then when the quarterback's non-throwing hand comes off, the ball's coming out, and it gives them a better look then post-snap what the coverage is before the ball's getting delivered.
First team timeout, a 30-second
Baltimore
timeout.
takes that timeout. You saw that was Mike Solari, the offensive line coach. He still had the old school printout photos, but this year those tablets are supposed to. I'm told it would be 30 seconds, for example, to get that old school printout photo, that the tablet can reduce that time to 3 or 4 seconds.
Michael, wait the 30 seconds. Coach Solari says, I'll wait a half a minute. Everything's digital.
There's Mike Solari.
He's such a good line coach.
And you know something, and we can get into this, Tim, in the second half, but that's something as this 49ers start this season, the 4th season of Jim Harbaugh's tenure as head coach, the staff consistency is awesome.
Well, it's huge, the continuity of that and the quality of the coaches, but to be able to keep them all together after the success you've had on the field, that's rare in pro football.
Forsett's brought down. Nice play by Tank Carradine.
I'll tell you who else made a very, very nice play is Lawrence Okoye.
Yeah, that's nice to hear.
Shot through there, but watch Lawrence Okoye, who is green as grass now, has not played a lot of football. There he is. Watch him press the offensive lineman into the backfield. Bang! 2 yards into the backfield, forces the running back to cut back. There's Tank Carradine to clean it up. But the guy who really made that play was big 98, Lawrence Okoye.
I love you point that out because I got to admit I root a little bit for this young man from England. He's such a rock. He was a rock star on our trip to Wembley last year because he was a discus thrower. You understand the story. An Olympian who, when he was signed by the 49ers about a year and a half ago, didn't even know how to put pads on, and he barely got on the field even in preseason last year. He's playing a lot in this first half tonight.
Well, you can see that he has got a lot of power. That was a good illustration of his strength and that explosion. When you talk about a discus thrower that's one of the best in the world, you know he's got explosive hips and can snap into you.
He's got another sculpted body.
That's right. If he does make the team, I'm letting him get off the bus first. He might scare the opponent. Look at the length of those arms.
No, he's on the all-airport first team. No question. No question. 3rd down. And get a first down at the 2. And a little fade. And that's going to be outside the end zone. Not caught inbounds. That was Deontay Thompson.
Looked like Chris Cook got away with a little contact there without looking at the football in the end zone. Try to run the fade route here on him. fairly immaterial contact.
And the 49ers bring it up the middle.
It's a good blitz pickup by Justin Forsett.
Yeah.
Really good on Nick Moody. You can
Thompson.
see they're not even close to being in bounds.
So Ravens will kick here. 22-yarder for Tucker. And so Baltimore now has a 10-point first half lead. 49ers will get a kickoff and a chance to run a couple of plays.
Boy, I don't know what time of possession looks like. We don't have the stats monitor up here, but it's got to be heavily in favor of the Baltimore Ravens. This defense has been on the field a lot here in the first half.
Yeah, the 49ers moved the ball down the field in the one series that Kaepernick played, which was 7 plays. They have not moved the ball with Gabbert on the field in the first half.
We have yet to talk about Alex Boone, the starting right guard. They need him. It's got to be, you know, again, pure speculation. I think they'd be willing to sweeten his deal up. 2 years left on his contract. Of course, he's holding out. But it's got to be at the right price. Somewhere in the top 15, I think, would work for Alex Boone. But his versatility and what he is in there at right guard, and to keep that line together with the exception of the departure of Jonathan Goodwin, man, get the deal done.
And Tim, as you see, what Jim Harbaugh, there's your time of possession answer. Pretty resounding. But what the 49ers have done these last 3 years to win the 36 regular season games, to win multiple road playoff games, largely, I'm a big believer that the most, if you want to point your finger to one individual night, that kick was at the back of the end zone, it was the night Trent Baalke went in the draft room and drafted Anthony Davis and Mike Upati in the first round. And you know, fans don't get real excited when you draft offensive linemen in the first round. And he drafted 2 of them. And you put them with Staley. And then the development of Alex Boone. And you've had a brilliant offensive line.
No doubt. And that's why the 49ers are who they are, whether it be at home or on the road, is they're unbelievably strong at the line of scrimmage. The ball security's been fantastic, whether it was Alex Smith or now Colin Kaepernick since he took over a couple of years ago, and they play great defense. You're going to be in every game, home or away.
There's Bruce Ellington. He's at the top of your screen. Second receiver down, just inside the 20. The number's 20. In the slot with Gabbert out of the shotgun. And his arm's coming forward. That's going to be ruled an incomplete pass.
You can see there, I mean, well into the almost at halftime, and Daniel Kilgore and Joe Looney are still out there getting valuable reps.
The 49ers would love to have Gabbert hit on a couple of balls here and get something going, but he's going to get wrapped up and brought down. That's C.J. Mosley.
And remember earlier when we saw Carlos Hyde pick up C.J. Mosley, it was a different pressure, but it was a much better job in getting C.J. Mosley. You got to protect from the inside out if you're Jewel Hampton. And he takes some outside leverage on C.J. Mosley. You'll see Hampton here, number 33. He sees it, but he tries to block him from outside leverage and ends up really pushing him right into Blaine Gabbert, where Gabbert wants to step up into the pocket. You got to set to the inside of the blitzing inside linebacker if you're Jewel Hampton. And that way, if he does get by you, you're pushing him to the outside away from the quarterback.
All right, let's join Dennis.
Okay, we're here with Jim Harbaugh and Coach. First, the positives. You like to see the rookies for the first time. Ellington and Hyde really stood out. Your thought?
Yeah, they acquitted themselves well. Carlos ran the ball extremely well. Bruce did a nice job fielding the kickoff return and the punt return, so pleased there, yeah.
Assessment of Blaine Gabbert's performance.
Well, he's he had a couple miscues, but he'll not going to see any more of him tonight. We'll go with Josh Johnson in the second half, but running the team, running the offense. And he would have liked to hit a couple of those throws, but we'll keep at it.
All right, Jim, thanks.
All right, thanks.
Okay, Jim Harbaugh, obviously Blaine Gabbert is done for the night, so we'll see who's coming in here in the second half. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Dennis. So there we get the word. Josh Johnson will quarterback the second half for the 49ers. Coming up, the LG halftime show. Dennis will have a backstage look at Levi Stadium. Tim and I will take a look at some of what you saw in the first half tonight from Baltimore. Infinity first half stats and their preseason stats, so we don't put an awful lot in them. They're still not very welcoming for the 49ers in that time of possession. Tim, you pointed that out. That's the biggest one.
Well, and it turns into obviously a significant bigger number of play opportunities offensively for the Baltimore Ravens. 127 rushing yards, 44 of those to Tyrod Taylor on 3 runs on a couple of big scrambles. I'll tell you this, though. I thought the defensive line started to settle in once Quentin Dial got in the game and Tank Carradine.
Yes.
I thought they were certainly better than the guys that were out there before they were.
Yeah, Tim, that's a great call. I think that was, if you're going to, we talked about Hyde on the offense being a standout. On the defense, the second defensive line that went in would be.
Absolutely. And look, you got to call it like it is. Blaine Gabbert didn't look good, period. Back to the drawing board for him. He's got a lot of upside, and I think he's got a pretty bright future here.
All right,
with the 49ers.
Colton Schmidt kicking off here for the 49ers. UC Davis kicker. Deontay Thompson on the return, and he gets that out across the 30, but once again, that bad block flag flies in. And that was thrown by the referee. Pete Morelli calling a hold on the Ravens.
Now, having said all those things that we said about the statistics, and there was the hold right there.
Why wasn't Pete Morelli the referee at that Super Bowl? Since Bruce Miller got hugged and bear hugged and wrapped and thrown to the ground and wrestled to the ground on Jacoby Jones's return. But that's another story, Tim.
Yeah, people would have.
Not that it's a scab at all.
People would have called out Pete Morelli. He's a Stockton guy. He's a Northern California guy. They couldn't let that happen.
That's right. That's true. Aiken unable to make that catch on the first down play for Baltimore.
Pete's a good official, though. But having said all that, in terms of the statistical numbers being lopsided and certainly one-sided in favor of the Baltimore Ravens, thought some of the young guys showed well in the first half. Tank Carradine played well, had the nice sack on the quarterback, terrific move to get to the quarterback. Quentin Dial, 2 forced fumbles. He played well on defense. Jimmy Ward, the rookie first-round pick, he made a tackle in the backfield. I thought some of the young guys, as we talked about a theme, stepped up, and they did.
Second down, and the Ravens run the ball. And decent game by Lorenzo Talifer, who's a draft pick. Chris Borland out there playing again. He started the game, and he's starting the second half. So see if the defense can come up with a third down stop here, a short third down. And Taylor's throw is going to be incomplete, intended for Deontay Thompson on the Baltimore sideline.
Yeah, that ball just outside the reach of Deontay Thompson. Dante Johnson on the coverage. Chris Borland did a nice job right there in terms of understanding the concepts. People will look at Borland and say he's 5'11" maybe, and he's going to have trouble with his range as a pass defender. But I'll tell you what puts him a step ahead of the game is he understands route concepts. Really nice job there taking the tight end away. Because, you know, that down and distance, they wanted to go to the tight end, and there was nowhere for the QB to go with good coverage there from Borland.
Challenging the ruling on the field that the elbow was down and the player was inbounds and no catch.
All right, there's the explanation of John Harbaugh getting his first challenge tonight in. So while Pete Morelli goes to the booth to watch, we'll take a break in Baltimore. Our first challenge of this 2014 preseason.
And as you know, the elbow counts as both feet. Firm grip on the ball. Looked like the elbow was down before the ball touched out of bounds, but I'm not so sure there's enough evidence to overturn this. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks like that elbow was down in bounds before the ball touched out of bounds, but it's got to be clear because it was called incomplete on the field.
After reviewing the play, the receiver's elbow is down in bounds. It is a catch. The ball will be placed at the 33-yard line. First down, Baltimore.
So John Harbaugh wins a challenge that was very close.
Talk about challenges and review. There's a rule change this year, which I think is awesome for the NFL in terms of getting it right. The referee now, when he goes out under the hood, has got the ability to communicate with New York, with the central office, Dean Blandino and the officiating department, to really go through the process to make sure when they go into review that they come out with the right outcome and get the play called right. That's big.
And I think that's a great call, Tim. As Tolifer gets a carry and gets a big gain out across the 40. That's something the NHL, I believe the NHL is the one that pioneered that. And then Major League Baseball putting replay in this year also employed that, where all emanates from New York.
I'll tell you what, they are just creasing that 49ers front right up the gut.
Mike Purcell, who started the game, he's a second-year man out of Wyoming. He was a practice squad guy last year for the 49ers. He's back at the nose. And Baltimore runs on first down, this time a short gain. Carradine is in. 96 there is another player, Tim, to watch this preseason. Another second-year man. Corey Lemonnier did play last year, but I would put him in that category that needs to advance.
No, he's got to step up, and he may have to step in. I mean, if and when Aldon Smith is suspended, if that happens, Corey Lemonnier, especially in the passing down stuff, is going to have to step up his game and have a big impact for the defense.
And there's a pick by Chris Cook. Tyrod Taylor's throw was intended for Marlon Brown.
Tell you what, Chris Cook, who had no interceptions in 29 starts for the Minnesota Vikings, has had a nice training camp getting after the football. He's done some nice things tonight. And this ball should have never been thrown by Tyrod Taylor. Chris Cook in great position to go up and make a play, and he was able to catch the football.
Second takeaway for the 49ers.
Nice break. Ted, this is well done, the interception by Chris Cook. Off coverage, in zone, has his eyes on the quarterback the whole way, gets to his landmark. Poorly thrown ball, but a nice break on it by Chris Cook, and most importantly, he's able to catch the football.
And that's our AT&T defensive stop. Now offense for the 49ers, and Josh Johnson, second go-around with the team. And off to Hampton. Carlos Hyde got the work early, mostly first quarter. Now it is Joel Hampton. That's his fifth carry.
It's a nice block by Tukuafu. Big defensive lineman converted to a fullback the last couple of seasons. He just shocked Pernell McPhee out on the edge.
Now Josh Johnson, Oakland Tech, played at USD when Jim Harbaugh was the head coach. He was in camp with the 49ers in 2012. Did not make the team. Was in Cincinnati last year as the backup to Andy Dalton, played sparingly. Here's David Reed. Remember, fifth receiver on the Ravens Super Bowl team 2 years ago.
That's right. And then after the Super Bowl, they let him go. He went to Indianapolis, ended up getting waived about mid-season. Very good hands and really quick as a hiccup. Kind of a shorter guy than you want out on the perimeter, but he's made some nice plays in camp. Probably the best go route in terms of a deep ball that was able to connect in training camp was to David Reed.
And Johnson put that ball close down the sideline, opposite side of the field once again to David Reed.
And that's the exact play I was just talking about in training camp where they hooked it up. It was Josh Johnson throwing to David Reed down the right sideline. Needed to lead him out a little bit more on that one. Safety staying on the hash. Could have thrown that to the outside, to the pylon,
right,
and led him to the pylon. It's a good route by David Reed. He's got room outside to be able to track it towards the sideline, but that ball thrown too far inside where the corner was playing.
That was Tremaine Jacobs on the stop for the Ravens. Hampton's bottled up. That'll lead the 49ers with a long third down.
Part of the lopsidedness in time of possession was third down conversions in the first half of this game. Once Blaine Gabbert got out there, the 49ers were 1 of 5 on third down situations. Another area now when we get into real football when the season starts. Talked about the passing offense needing to improve. The third down needs to improve for sure. 30 out of 32 teams in both categories.
Johnson's able to stand in the pocket and deliver one, trying to hit Derek Carrier running the right seam.
Interesting. Derek Carrier had 3 guys on him in coverage, and I think Josh Johnson knows it. He's pointing to himself. They came with pressure, did Baltimore. You had David Reed and Chuck Jacobs isolated one-on-one out on the perimeter. Both of them are matched up one-on-one. Carrier's got the running back or the linebacker running with him, and 2 deep safeties in the middle of the field. That's a wrong place for Josh Johnson to try to throw the football.
So Colton Schmidt brought in as the extra kicker in camp. Again, he's been with the 49ers in the camp previously. Played his football at Davis. Can the 49ers down this in play? Yes, and that is, well, he's a special teams veteran. Has made his living in the NFL for over a decade, Kasim Osgood. And Osgood got down there to deaden that ball inside the 1. And Tim, this is going to be something I know fans don't get all energized. Everybody talks about positions, and when
you love those gunners.
Well, when you read all the predictions about who's going to make a team, it's always broken down by position, and rarely do people factor in special teams. And it's you play, you know, there's always an internal battle between special teams coaches, head coaches, GMs. How many spots do I get? Right.
That's right.
How many players do you keep on a team because of special teams?
And typically, most teams, and I don't know how Trent Baalke is going to cut this roster up, but most teams will carry 5 active wide receivers. Who knows? Maybe they carry 6 with the depth and the talent they've got at wide receiver, and some of the issues right now at tight end with the Brent Selleck injury or the Garrett Selleck injury. But you need your receivers, your backups, your 4th and 5th, and possibly 6th wide receiver. And same goes for the secondary. You need those guys to play special teams.
This is, again, a draft pick, Lorenzo Talifer out of Coastal Carolina. Bounced off the first hit by the 49ers. Leaves a short 3rd down. And I just can't emphasize to me how important that is, because even last year the 49ers had a 6-yard difference in drive start. Over the course of 16 games, that is immense.
It's called hitting yardage. You don't see it while it's happening, but add it up at the end of the day and it means something.
So 3rd and 3 for Baltimore. And Talifer's going to run it, and, well, it looked like he had crossed the line, but a flag comes in.
I think they're going to get a hold. Somebody was holding Quentin Dial, who was disengaging.
Holding, number 74 offense. Half the distance to the goal, remains 3rd down.
James Hurst, a second team lineman. There he is. That's on the outside. That looked like, is that on Chase Thomas?
Yeah, it was. Chase Thomas was trying to fall back inside. Another nice play, though, by Quentin Dial, getting down the line of scrimmage. This Taliaferro is a tough tackle, though. Those are bouncing off of him.
Look at this. Taylor going for the big ball, and it's almost picked.
That is perfect defense from Dante Johnson. Perfect. We've seen that all training camp. I love the fact that he is reading the eyes of the wide receiver. It's going to be to the left side of your screen. That ball's up in the air for a long time. Receiver's eyes get big. Dante Johnson spins his head around and should have had an interception. But he ran with Deontay Thompson the whole way, and as soon as that ball was arced up in the air, he spun his head and located it.
Tough punt there. Cook gets it away. Ellington with a muff, a pickup, and he's going to make something out of it, except that's going to be brought back with a flag. So sometimes you can make something out of a mistake, and Ellington looked like he had done that, but again, that return flag, which is common in preseason. You see a lot of flags on kick returns.
And you think about the special teams, I mean, get to this point in the game, there's going to be a lot of guys that are out there playing right now that aren't going to be on this football team.
On the receiving team during the kick. Illegal block in the back, number 25. That penalty will be declined. Holding, number 44. That penalty will be accepted. It was during the kick, 10 yards. 1st down and timeout.
All right. So they double down on the flags on that return. Back the 49ers up for Josh Johnson's second series.
Right there to none other than Eddie D. Look at that. Look how genuine that is.
And Eddie and Joe spoke to the crowd after that moment, and Eddie D was emotional. Josh Johnson and hits Chuck Jacobs there. And just quickly, I went to that. I really wasn't enthused.
It was the
Candlestick, again, I was not really excited. But I got to say, walking on the field and seeing Joe and Ronnie and Jerry and Steve and, of course, all the other greats that were there, that was pretty cool.
Well, we remember the last game, right? The pick at the stick with Navarro Bowman. This was like the strain at the stick with all those legends. How many guys strained a muscle in that game?
Yeah. And Joe Montana did a terrific job. Joe was really a driving force behind getting guys to come out. Roger Craig was also, I think, was his assistant recruiter. But for one more time at Candlestick, it was very moving to see those the greats who played the game.
Great franchise.
Isaac Bruce,
jewels,
by the way.
baby.
Isaac Bruce would come out here tonight and catch 6 balls. He was incredible shape.
Well, you know he can run that dig route.
Unbelievable.
May not get a lot of run after the catch, but he's going to run that inside cutting route and catch it.
Well, here's a player that may become a factor because of something, Tim, you just referenced. Derek Carrier was picked up late in the season by the 49ers last year. He's from a small school, was a wide receiver, now playing tight end. But Garrett Selleck can't play right now. Don't know when he's going to be able to.
Illegal contact, number 32, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Now, you never know with head, neck, or back, and Garrett Selleck's dealing with a back issue. So great opportunity here for Derek Carrier.
Yeah,
he's not the blocker that Selleck is, but he can be a matchup problem in the passing game.
He is the third right now. He's the third tight end. It was last year the 49ers, and you referenced Daniel Kilgore, who's now starting at center. They used him often as a 6th or 7th O-lineman in those jumbo packages. Johnson with the keep here.
Well, I love what they're doing with Josh. Greg Roman is dialing up the right plays for Josh Johnson to be successful. If you'll notice, when Blaine Gabbert was in there, Ted, for the most part, they had him throwing from the pocket, trying to read the defense and deliver the ball. Since Josh has gotten out here in the second half, we've seen bootlegs, all these edge plays, and that time the read option, and able to pick up a big first down. Calling the right plays for the kind of player Josh Johnson is.
Simon, 94 for Baltimore. Wasn't expecting that. He was targeting Josh Johnson. Johnson just sidestepped him. Now this one blown up. That play, Ravens smother. That's DJ Roberts, who was the first man in that. And finishing there, 97 is their second draft pick, Timmy Jernigan out of Florida State.
Teammates with Tank Carradine a couple of years ago. And he is thick as a brick. You can see Jernigan, who's, I think they envisioned him being a nose tackle in this defense, but he's played more out on an offensive tackle or an offensive guard like he's lined up right here. There's Jernigan.
Here's a veteran, one of the running backs the 49ers brought in because of injury, Alphonso Smith, who has NFL time with the Arizona Cardinals. And Smith gets it to the 31, which will leave a 3rd and 6.
Tell you, Josh looks pretty good, as he did last preseason. There runs some clear out routes, nobody open, and he just takes his check down and is able to pick up 4 yards. Or more. That's the way it ends up right now, 3rd and 6.
Well, here's the play we've sort of hinted at tonight. First time we've seen Bruce Ellington have a shot to make a play on a scrimmage down.
I think this guy is a prototypical slot receiver. I really do. I mean, you don't start 30 games in the Southeastern Conference as a point guard and average 13 points a game if A, you don't have a competitive spirit and some toughness and know how to run the show. We know what a point guard does, and his first step quickness now. He's a matchup problem in man coverage if you want to man him, and he's really smart in watching him in OTAs and knowing where to sit down in the zone.
And now Baltimore forces a turnover. Josh Johnson has the ball knocked from him, and I believe the same player recovered it for the Ravens. Frustration, the 49ers cannot get that ball, and they cannot finish a drive. Oh, that was just a muff snap. Light trivia in our 49ers preseason network. Which NFL coach, this is all time, has the most wins in his first 3 seasons? Is it Jim Harbaugh with 36? Well,
I'm going to take a shot.
Think about it.
And I don't know the answer, but I'm taking a shot. George Seifert.
We'll let you know in a short bit here. I think that's a good call on your part, Tim Ryan. So Tyrod Taylor and Kamar Aiken connect. Joe Flacco played the first series tonight for Baltimore, and Tyrod Taylor has gone since. The Ravens' third quarterback is Keith Wessling, who they drafted in the 6th round out of Ball State. Taylor and Aiken again. 49ers finally got a drive going there with Josh Johnson at the helm, but that was simply a muffed center snap that ended up being recovered by D'Angelo Tyson.
Never got it from Dylan Farrell, and that was a good job by D'Angelo Tyson. Really kind of Josh Johnson and pulling him away from the football, and then was able to jump on it and recover it after.
Powering straight ahead there is Tolliver. The Ravens last year were dead last in the NFL in running. I mean, that's hard to believe. They were 3.1 yards a running play.
Yeah, they were awful.
And dead last. The Baltimore
They were awful.
Ravens?
Yeah, they only had one real offensive lineman with some punch, and that was Marshall Yanda. They moved Lawrence Okoye that time. That's one thing now about Okoye is talked about how raw he is. He's going to get his pad level up because he just doesn't have a great feel yet, and he's going to get pushed.
Here's what Baltimore, and again, this is going against not the first team D-line for the 49ers tonight, but they have pushed and run straight ahead pretty well.
And I made the point earlier, I think this defensive line is sapped in terms of their energy. They're only practicing with 6 guys at practice. That's a lot of reps, and that's short lines in every drill. Fly across country, and these guys have, Mike Purcell's played the whole game.
This week, the 49ers, early this week, even the practice day Monday, Jim Harbaugh called the team together in the field prior to the start of the practice and basically said, slow down, ease up a little bit, because they were down to I think he said 68 bodies to practice, and that's counting the specialists.
Well, and it takes its toll. I talked about the defensive linemen. I'm sure the wide receivers' hamstrings are buzzing too with Crabtree and Lloyd being down.
And there was Daryl Morris, who wound up being a good figure for the 49ers down the stretch last year. He wound up becoming a gunner on the punt team once Tremaine Brock was a starting player, and Daryl Morris there on the cover against Deontay Thompson.
I don't think there's too many guys on this team that can beat Vernon Davis in a 40-yard dash. That may be one of them right there, Daryl Morris. He can flat out run. And he is in a battle with Jimmy Ward for that nickel slot position to step in for the departed Carlos Rogers.
So a long third down. And Taylor misfires, trying to hit Kamar Aiken. So the 49ers defense does hold and will bring on a long field goal try here. They're bringing Justin Tucker out.
And that's kind of been the theme of this game defensively for the 49ers. Bend but don't break. Other than that one touchdown early where Bernard Pierce punched it in, the 49er defense has given up a bunch of yards, but anytime the opponent, the Ravens that is, gets in scoring position, they're able to get him to 4th down.
Tucker will kick this from 55. He's made a 61-yarder in his career. Of course, made the field goal to win the AFC Championship game in Foxborough. And he drives that through from 55 with a lot to spare. So now I know why they sell his jersey in the team store. And that's his 3rd field goal tonight. All right, let's find out if Tim Ryan is right. And you at home, were you right? The Bud Light Trivia answer is...
Yeah.
Good job.
Just took a shot, baby. Highest winning percentage of any coach in the history of the 49ers. Didn't that first year out of the box have 14 wins attached to it?
766 winning percentage. And by the way, George Seifert, and you see how well Jim Harbaugh has done, how close that is. But give George his credit. George Seifert will be the newest enshrining into the Edward J. DeBartolo Sr. 49ers Hall of Fame. That'll happen November 1st. He'll be honored in the game at Levi's that weekend against St. Louis.
Not only a great coach, but a great fisherman. I like going fishing with Seifert. All right, check this out. Join Faithful 49, presented by Esurance, the 49ers' new fan engagement program. Compete against the rest of the faithful for single game tickets at Levi's Stadium and other great prizes. To learn more and sign up, visit faithful49ers.com. It's like doing your job, Ted. Read these promos. What's going on here?
We're talking about the Hall of Fame, the 49ers, George Seifert, the history. And I can't emphasize enough, fans. Tomorrow is also the grand opening to the public of the new museum at Levi Stadium. Josh Johnson hits, and a nice hang on there. David Reed held that ball as he got hit. Be close to a first down.
It's a nice route by David Reed. Really is. Reading that off zone coverage, and just basically when that corner gets in his back pedal, David Reed will just put the brakes on and come back to the football.
On that ball, Olate of the Ravens hit him. Now the check down to Hampton. Olate again on this tackle there in the flat of Jewel Hampton.
You can tell Josh has got a much better feel of this offense than Blaine Gabbert. You really can. I mean, just watching him run this offense right now, getting to the line of scrimmage, they're working the no huddle right now. He's looking downfield. There's nobody open, and he's just hitting the check down on time.
Inside give to Hampton out of the shotgun. And it's interesting as Josh Johnson 2 years ago went through camp, went through the offseason and then the camp with the 49ers. So he has some familiarity. I was talking to Blaine Gabbert the other day. Blaine Gabbert told me, this is my 4th offense in 4 years. And I laughed. I said, you know who that reminds us of? And he goes, yeah, I've heard Alex. And said he did run into Alex Smith in the offseason at a wedding. Did talk to him a little bit. Johnson was brought down. He tried to escape up the middle, couldn't get out.
I'll say this, if Jewel Hampton is going to make this team, he's going to have to be better, Ted, in pass protection. And that's twice we've seen him whiff on pass pro. You'll see him right here in the middle of your screen. Arthur Brown just goes right by him. He tried to correct his mistake from earlier when he gave up that sack. Remember, he attacked the outside, and C.J. Mosley beat him to the inside. That time he set in the right spot in terms of his protection, but Arthur Brown just flat out beat him to the outside.
And if you're a 49er fan and you don't think that's important, when Tim said, think back to the game in St. Louis last year, the Thursday night game, 4th game of the year, and how poorly Darrell Richardson, the Rams running back, was in pass pro.
That is the end of the 3rd quarter.
The 49ers crushed him.
That's right.
And Darrell Richardson didn't play much the rest of the year.
Look, pressure bothers quarterbacks, especially when it's right up the gut. It's a crusher.
Welcome back to Baltimore, everybody. One of the questions I often get is Harbaugh the same way on the sidelines as he is anywhere else? Well, the last 5 years, Jim Harbaugh has spent part of his offseason in Peru, helping to give back to communities in need. Now, he helps with building, he helps in the rice fields, delivering food, and this year, he brought 3 of his kids, Jay, Gracie, and James, and from what I am told, Harbaugh wore the black shirt, the khakis, and approached his job with enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Job well done by the Harbaugh family, guys.
How about that punt, by the way? Colton Schmidt hit a great punt there with the spin, and the 49ers down.
You're absolutely right, Dennis. He had the work clothes on down in Peru.
You see Jack Harbaugh in the background, Jim, but that's really a true story. Jim has done this for 5 years, and I got to give credit to a good friend of his from the Bay Area, John Denniston, who went to Michigan. Like Jim, they met. There's Jack Harbaugh, dad on the left, James on the right, who was on the trip. And John Denniston was really the driving force that introduced Jim Harbaugh to say, come down here and do this in service. This year there was a whole coterie that went from the Bay Area, including our producer, Sean Madison.
Sean rolled down there?
He absolutely did.
Well, Jim's not afraid to work. We all know that. I played 4 years with him in Chicago. He is an absolute grinder. And the thing I love about him now is he's going to work and he's going to keep working, but he's going to lean on his terrific coaching staff and let them do their jobs. And there's really something to be said for that.
So there was a penalty on the play, and that punt, which was an excellent one by Colton Schmidt, gets wiped out. And he'll have to do it again. Michael Campanero is the return man for Baltimore.
Osgood flew down there the last time. They got the double vice on him this time.
I'm trying to see if the 49ers have to get an extra man out here at the end. I believe it's Jimmy Ward is the outside man. Yes, it is the 1st round pick on the other side of the field. Campanero. A nice job there running that one straight ahead, and finally as brought down just shy of the 20-yard line. All right, here's another Geico Ask Tim. Will we see Cap run more?
I think it depends on how good Blaine Gabbert.
During the kick, illegal use of hands to the face. Number 37 of the receiving team. 5-yard penalty, at the 10-yard penalty at the end of the kick. First down.
I really do believe he's dynamic, Colin Kaepernick, with the ball in his hand as a runner. I think it depends on how good Blaine Gabbert is in terms of when the real season gets here and how comfortable they feel about their backup quarterback. And then I think we are going to see more pass. I mean, there was a big emphasis this offseason, and you know it, Ted, in terms of the upgrade to the wide receiver core. Look at last year. With the exception of Anquan Bolden, there was not a lot for Colin Kaepernick to throw to.
Until that guy got back.
And now Michael Crabtree, and he's going to be back from his leg injury that he's got right now, and I think he's going to have a fantastic season. There's just too many weapons for Colin Kaepernick to turn and call up, Greg Roman, call up those dialed running plays. There'll be a few, there'll be some. There's too much talent in the wide receiver core this year, I believe.
Tolliver running straight ahead, and we've been talking tonight about the wide receivers, and we haven't even mentioned Vernon Davis. You throw him in as an extraordinary weapon.
And is Vernon last year, 13 touchdowns, 1 touchdown every 4 receptions. And he's in better shape this year. He is just so darn fast, and he's an underrated blocker. And now you add Stevie Johnson to the group. You add a healthy Crabtree to the group. Some of the other guys, Quentin Patton, Bruce Ellington, they can sprinkle in. Vernon's going to have a lot of opportunity between the numbers to make big-time plays.
The Ravens just keep running this rookie straight ahead. Lorenzo Tolliver's chewing up yards, gets them out of their own deep red zone, and it's a first down.
And he's a 4th-round pick, and they love him. From guys I was talking to down on the field before practice, this guy is a bruiser. You see Nick Moody just get swallowed up there by the offensive lineman. Can't disengage off the block.
I called up. They said it was right.
Taliaferro's had some nice runs.
He's 61 yards now on the ground, all in the second half. Missed. Bubba Ventrone got in that time in the backfield and tried to wrap him up, just missed the tackle.
This will be a good learning experience for this group up front. And I talked about them being somewhat gassed in terms of what they've got left in the tank from a cardiovascular standpoint. They've taken so many reps at practice with Justin Smith and Ray McDonald not practicing and Glenn Dorsey going down. Mike Purcell's played the whole game, and Tank Carradine's not far behind him.
A lot of snaps for Carradine and Dial. Tyrod Taylor gets outside, and Bubba Ventrone is there to stop any further gain.
And you see right there, Chase Thomas is asking for out of the game. I think he's a little bit winded as well. 48 right there. You got to be able to make that play. That's a classic Gary Kubiak play. They run all the run action away from you and then boot the quarterback right around the corner. You've got to be able to squeeze down the line of scrimmage with your eyes on the quarterback, so if he peels out, you can take the right angle and go get him. Chase Thomas got caught that time.
Yeah, Lawrence Okoye comes back in Chase Thomas's spot. Short 3rd down for Baltimore. And Taylor's not going to get away. 49ers get him. And that is Lemonnier.
Lemonnier cleaned it up, but it looked like Lawrence Okoye was back there in the right end position first.
Illegal use of hands to illegal contact, number 41, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And in the secondary, Ventrone was called for that foul that erases the sack and gives Baltimore a first down.
Killer on 3rd down, and then to take the sack away as well. Let's watch, though, Okoye right there. He just gets low. Excuse me, let me erase that. Pushes the offensive tackle. Nowhere for Tyrod Taylor to step up to, and Lemonnier is able to finish him off, all for naught with the penalty from Ventrone.
So a new set of downs and now a new running back, and that is Sierra Wood on the carry for the Ravens. Wood's a 2nd-year man out of Notre Dame, played for 2 teams last year as a free agent.
Well, you can tell Baltimore, as bad as they were running the ball last year, Ted, and you talked about it, 30th in the NFL, 3-1 a carry. Big emphasis to use those big bodies up front and just mash it here in this first preseason game.
And there's Lemonnier.
There we go.
And he chases down Tyrod Taylor from behind. I think that's the kind of play that, Tim, the 49ers envisioned when they drafted Lemonnier.
And the weight room has been good to Corey Lemonnier this offseason. If you looked at him last year and then looked at him this year, the transformation in terms of how his body's sculpted and the size he's put on, Mark Uyeyama, the strength coach, has done a terrific job with him.
All right, well, we're into the fourth quarter, and it's the first time tonight the 49ers trainers have had to come out. Lawrence Okoye down at the end of the play.
We're taking it all the way. Super Bowl bound. We're beating.
Here's the sack by Corey Lemonnier right here at his outside linebacker position. And he's going to come unblocked right off the edge. Tyrod Taylor, not an easy tackle. He's got some pretty fleet feet. Corey Lemonnier able to walk him down from behind. Tap Plastics tackle of the game.
There you go. Well, the measure, maybe the biggest measure of success in a night like this is how often your trainers have to come on the field. That was the first trip. Jeff Ferguson and company, and Lawrence Okoye able to get up and walk off. Taylor now running. And Taylor's got himself a first down gain.
And they are so short on defensive linemen that Will Tukuafu is out there now back to his old spot as a defensive lineman. He's coming off the edge on the left side of your screen.
Tukuafu has been moved. He's still listed sometimes as a defensive lineman, but really it played mostly fullback.
And he's a pretty good defensive lineman coming out of Oregon. I remember watching him there. He's made some plays here in San Francisco the last few years.
We're in that moment that reeks more of college football. We have double numbers. The 49ers have 2 48s right now on the field, so don't get confused. Tukuafu's flowing hair out the back will let you tell that it is him versus Chase Thomas. There they are.
The guy I'm most impressed with these young guys here in this game tonight, and he's played a lot, is big boy number 92, Quentin Dial. I mean, they cannot move him off the line of scrimmage. There he is right there. He's just standing guys up and disengaging off the blocker and getting to the football. Very impressive. There he is again.
And I'm going to say, Tim, I think you've been talking. I think since the first drive, I think Dial's played, if not every snap, virtually every snap on that D front.
He has been the most impressive defensive lineman with a heavy workload. As I said earlier, I mean, he has got all the skill sets you look for in that two-gap and defensive lineman. And when I say that, that means a guy that usually lines head up on an offensive lineman, uses those long arms and that long body to stand him up, find the ball, and shed whichever way the ball carrier wants to go. You shed in that direction and ultimately end up playing two gaps.
Nice hold there. Darryl Morris put a pretty good pop on the receiver, but that is Jeremy Butler with the catch for the Ravens.
Another guy they've been happy with and will have a chance to be the 5th wide receiver here in Baltimore. Pretty loaded with their top 4, and Torrey Smith, Steve Smith, Jacoby Jones, and Marlon Brown. Pretty good 4 wide receivers to start with.
It's Fitzgerald Toussaint. We are going deep here, guys. Fitzgerald Toussaint out of Michigan. Oh, he's a Wolverine. And that his first carry. First preseason game, and they're going to everybody in uniform apparently is going to get on the field. It's kind of what it's supposed to be.
Well, if you're Jim Harbaugh, you would like to see more opportunity for your offense. I'll tell you that.
Yes, absolutely.
Because the defense has been getting run on throughout this game, and Baltimore's been converting on a lot of the third downs. The play opportunities and time of possession heavily favor Baltimore, and the offense has been standing on the sideline most of the game for the 49ers. But don't worry. They'll practice against each other for 3 days, and I promise you they will script up whatever they want, that being the coaches, in terms of what they didn't get to see in this game. They'll take a look at and script it out in practice so they can get a look at it and evaluate it.
49ers will fly back to the Bay Area Monday after a practice here in Baltimore. They'll be back late in the day Monday. And Levi's Stadium will open 1 week from Sunday for football. Jace Davis on that catch. First football game will be a week Sunday, Denver.
I'll tell you what, a lot of people will be picking that as a preview of a likely Super Bowl matchup.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 46. Half the distance, 15-yard penalty, first down.
What's unnecessary about that?
It's James McCray on the foul here.
Daryl Morris is down in position right there trying to bring him down. And there was nothing down on the ground. It didn't look like at that point for Davis.
Did he hit his helmet? The receiver's helmet? Is that?
It doesn't matter. The receiver had already possessed the football and was trying to pick up extra yards, and I don't think his knee or his rear end was down. It's live football. You can come up and tackle him any way you want to.
Toussaint inside the 10 for Baltimore. There's again the time of possession. Yep. And it's really been frustrating here in this fourth quarter. We're already down to nearly 6 minutes. The 49ers have barely had the ball, so Josh Johnson's not getting the time or the reps that I'm sure Jim Harbaugh would like to get him in game action. Tolliver back in the game is piled up.
Let's see if the 49ers defensively do what they've done all night and give up all kinds of yards
And it's
in between the 10-yard line. And then they get to third down and they force Baltimore to fourth down and force them to kick a field goal. Only one touchdown on the night for the Ravens.
Tolliver is the running back on the short third. And Taylor throws a touchdown. Jeremy Butler caught that and broke the plane before he was driven out of the end zone. It's one of the draft picks, Kenneth Acker, you saw out of SMU on the cover.
Looked like Tyrod Taylor hit his finger on one of the helmets. Boy, let's see if he crosses the plane. Looked like he did.
It's interesting. Look at where the referee's not on the goal line when he makes that call. Nothing worth challenging here. It's only the second touchdown of the night, and so here's
the
the
scoring play automatically challenged anyway,
true,
right?
Automatically reviewed. That's true. All right, here's the trial. You're seeing only the second touchdown of the night. The extra points for the first 2 weeks of these preseason games being snapped from the 15. So it's a 33-yard kick, still good. The Ravens up 23-3. Our ASUS Power Performer, Colin Kaepernick, seeing highlights of his great plays in the past. That was the breakthrough playoff game just down the road from here on the Monday night in Washington last year. This is the frigid game in Green Bay, and it's interesting. He led the team down the field, a final drive to win that playoff game. The week before, the final drive to win in Phoenix. And a brilliant second half in Carolina.
There was nobody hotter at the end of the year than the San Francisco 49ers in some of the big wins that were led behind the arm right there at Colin Kaepernick.
Quick return here. Chuck Jacobs going to get some room as he reversed field. It runs against the grain.
Nasty stiff arm.
And then a stiff arm that's going to get him a flag.
Yeah, that stiff arm by the running back, you cannot, or by the return guy there, Chuck Jacobs, you cannot get your hand on the mask and shake it.
And Jacobs, I believe, is the player that is down.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask, number 17, the receiving team. 15-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
So Jacobs' good play gets negated at the end by the personal foul, and now the injured player to be tended to. The foul you'll see here on the stiff arm is secondary now to the injury suffered by Chuck Jacobs.
And it looked like his right knee. I mean, you hate to speculate on injuries, but you can see him grabbing his right knee, Chuck Jacobs, as he goes to plant right there. Looked like the knee may have given out, and then it just goes limp. And as he's rolling over, he looks like he's clutching at his right knee.
Again, the 49ers medical team, and that's the main man, Jeff Ferguson, there helping. Chuck Jacobs, who's from Richmond, played at Kennedy High School, then at Laney College, before he ended up at Utah State.
Well, that's a pretty good sign right there.
Yeah.
He's not limping off.
Of course, he's on the behind the Baltimore bench, but they're going to put him, as you can tell here, onto the flatbed. So the 49ers now with the ball. And again, they've not had it much tonight, and especially as of late.
They got to get a couple of first downs, if for no other reason, to give that defensive line and those defenders a rest.
So McLeod Bethel Thompson is the quarterback now. The 49ers getting in some snaps.
False start, number 62, offense. 5-yard penalty remains, second down.
49ers had a rotating cast, to say the least, as the third quarterback last year, but McLeod ended up being the guy for much of the year. And there hits Bruce Ellington, so Ellington gets a second catch.
Well, you watch Ellington on his stem, which is the first part of his route. He just chews up ground in a heartbeat. He has got some burst off the line of scrimmage.
And Tim, I think obviously analytics are far more involved now in pro football than ever before. 3 wide receivers. Would you expect the 49ers? I mean, their team's 60-65% of the snaps are 3+ wide receivers.
Yeah, I look, we all know this team wins with 32 runs a game, and a lot of those runs come with the heavy personnel and the big blockers. But at the end of the day, and it really will be based on matchups and who you're playing week in and week out, I think there are going to be some opponents where we're going to see a lot of the 3 wide receiver sets.
Ball looked like it was going to be intercepted, intended for David Reed. As Dominique Franks was mad at himself.
I mean, all game plan dictated by the game plan and who the opponent is week in and week out. But the talent in the wide receiver core right now versus what it's been is night and day. If I were Greg Roman, and I'm not, I can't call plays to save my life, but I'd see a lot of mismatches on the field when you line up that wide receiver core and then include Vernon Davis in the group.
The 49ers just not clicking at all on offense there. Alfonso Smith unable to make that catch.
And the beauty of 3 wide receivers and with the tight end on the field and Vernon's ability, you can spread everybody out and get one-on-one mismatches and then have running plays. You can still run the power run game in a one-back set with 5 offensive linemen.
And the 49ers saw the Seahawks do that to them last year, especially the first game with Marshawn Lynch.
They're called gun runs, shotgun runs.
Right.
Spread everybody out and still run the power.
All right, so Jim Harbaugh trying to keep his offense out there and goes for it and gets it. A 4th down completion to David Reed.
And they needed that. The defense needed that.
Extra people coming. So Bethel Thompson lofts one, and David Reed, the intended receiver.
And Bethel Thompson just got blasted.
Ravens there dialed up a little pressure. They brought 2 extra men, including 1 player from the secondary.
I think that was DJ Roberts that hit him.
Is there a code about blitzing in the first preseason game?
Not
unwritten code?
There's an unwritten code. We remember Greg Williams from New Orleans about 4 years ago.
Harbaugh's first game.
Harbaugh's first year and giving Alex Smith the spinal tap. But I think that Jim and John, I would hope, talked before this game and said, look, we both need work in both of those areas, so dial it up.
That's a pick, well, maybe not a pick 6. Had the look to it. Well, Dominique Franks got a second chance, and this time he didn't drop it. So a veteran just came over from the Atlanta Falcons here to help Baltimore.
Here's the interception by Bethel McLeod Thompson, and the ball does look like it comes out on time. And it looked like it just got away from him. I don't know if David Reed ran the wrong route, but he threw it to the outside. It looked like it should have been thrown to the inside more near the numbers, and Dominic Franks was just sitting there waiting for it.
So the Ravens take over, and now they do bring in their rookie quarterback, Keith Wessling, to finish the game. There are the quarterbacks who played the second half of the 49ers, although there have not been a lot of snaps.
And I'll say this, and I've been at every practice but one. There have been a lot of interceptions in practice as well by all the quarterbacks.
Keith Wessling came out of Ball State. 49er fans remember that his predecessor there was a guy named Nate Davis, who was a 49er for a couple of seasons.
The lefty, right?
Strong.
Yeah.
Down there by Toussaint. That should get us down to the 2-minute warning. While they count down to the 2-minute warning, we can get another, and you can tweet these into KPIX Football or Ask Tim, brought to you by Geico.
Do you think Josh Johnson will push Blaine Gabbert for the number 2 spot? I think if you looked at the contracts, I would say yes. Or say, if you didn't look at the contracts, I would say yes. But by looking at the contracts, I would say no. I mean, Blaine Gabbert's got a pretty good chunk of change that's guaranteed to him this year. Nothing coming, guaranteed money for Josh Johnson.
The 2-minute warning.
But you know what? At the end of the day, the best players should be in the right spot. And I think the 49ers have always done that. So remains to be seen throughout this preseason.
2-minute warning. Final 2 minutes in Baltimore tonight. That man in the middle, 92, Quentin Dial, second-year player out of Alabama, has been a bright spot tonight. So the score would indicate there haven't been an overwhelming number of bright spots.
Yeah, for all the lowlights, he's certainly been a highlight for sure. Been most impressed with him on defense, and then of course Carlos Hyde on offense in the first half of the game I thought was terrific.
It appears we will not need to play any more football, and the 49er defense certainly does not need any more snaps. Baltimore can take 3 knees here and run out the remaining time in this preseason opener. A most unorthodox setup for the 49ers to fly across the country. That had been almost 20 years since they'd flown to the east to play a preseason game, and now to extend the trip, they will have an off day. The players will have a day off tomorrow. And they will then practice at the Ravens facility Saturday, Sunday, and early Monday. They will fly home, the team will, after Monday's practice.
I'd give the defensive line 2 days off. Not because how they played, and Dial was terrific and Carradine was okay, but these guys have to be exhausted. 2 weeks of a lot of reps at practice with limited bodies, and Purcell and Dial and Carradine played most of this game.
And when the 49ers get home, they will have 4 days to get ready, get a little refreshed, and then of course the enthusiasm and the excitement of opening Levi's for football, which will be a week Sunday. We'll be with you here on the 49ers preseason network with that game Sunday afternoon, the 17th against Denver. And a chance for us all to really see the beauty in it. Levi Stadium is a place, I really believe this, Tim, when you have to go in, you have to see the detail. They did the details spectacularly.
It's amazing how fast they put that building up and the way they put it up, and I think a lot needs to be said for the planning before a shovel was ever put in the ground, and the planning to get everybody prepared for that thing to go up in a couple of years.
So once again, the Harbaugh family convenes here in Baltimore, and it's a preseason game tonight, but the outcome doesn't really work for the 49ers. Not much offense. In fact, the only real offense tonight was the first drive of the game. Colin Kaepernick engineered, got the 49ers down near the 5-yard line, but they were unable to run the ball in and had to settle for a field goal.
Cap looked good. Carlos Hyde looked terrific. I thought Joe Staley and Mike Iupati, you see right there, number 77, they were doing their thing when they were out there for the first couple of drives. It's a preseason football game. Don't read too much into it. There are limited bodies out on this football team. My biggest hope as we leave this stadium, I thought Chris Cook played well.
Yes.
Had himself a nice interception.
Mike Upati and Haloti Nada talking now. They'll see each other Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Oh, yeah. My biggest hope leaving this stadium is that Lawrence Okoye is okay and that Chuck Jacobs is okay. That's most important. It's a very good football team. When football is real, the 49ers will be there to play, I promise you.
All right, let's join Dennis on the field.
Okay, guys, alongside Chris Cook, came over from Minnesota, and the 49ers did struggle today. But, Chris, you made a nice interception. Tell me about that play, because I know you did not have an interception in Minnesota.
Yeah, I was reading the quarterback, man, and I guess he thought I was going to break on the flat route, and he threw the curl, and I was just right there in a good spot.
Well, it certainly looked like you have a nose for the football. So in 29 starts, you didn't have a pick in Minnesota. Does that number surprise you?
Yeah, it does surprise me, but I didn't play as much as I would have liked when I was there, due to injuries and off the field issues. But it's a new start for me. It's a new day, and I'm making the most of this opportunity.
Hey, great start, fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Chris Cook. I'm going to walk over here to a guy with great debut, Carlos. Hey, congratulations on a fantastic debut. How quickly did you get the feel for NFL football and the speed?
Well, the first carry was to me, so I was looking forward to that, the whole time. So, once I got that first carry out the way, got that first hit, the jitterbugs went away. Being nervous and stuff, it all went away. Then, I felt comfortable, and after that, I had a couple more good runs.
Now, one of the concerns I know the 49ers had is how would you handle blitz pickup? How would you handle blocking? And you did a fantastic job on somebody came into the backfield tonight to protect the pass, which led to a first down. So is that something you're working on, and how do you feel your progress is coming in that regard?
Yeah, I'm working on that every day. That's like you said, that's something huge that if I'm be able to, contribute on this team, that's one thing I have to, pick up on, this pass protection. I think I did a good job today at it. That's something I can keep working on and get better at.
Great debut. Welcome to the NFL.
Thank you.
Okay, Carlos Hyde, a great debut, and for Chris Cook too. Interception, Tim. I heard you saying he had not had an interception in 29 games, which is an amazing number. He gets one tonight, albeit it is the preseason. Let's go back upstairs, guys.
Yeah, that was a defensive bright spot. Colin Kaepernick played his one series. Bruce Miller played his one series. And that was about the only bright spot for the offense tonight. We'll come back to wrap things up from Baltimore.